Right, second time's the charm. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
The link, share this link.
Mm. Okay, sending.
Great. Hopefully not like this happens again. So let's wait for some folks to gather. At the time, I can see we have two viewers, and I suppose one of them is me and the other one is you.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, we have some peeps coming. Hello there. Oh, six people. Wow. Four more than I thought would join. So, hello, our early birds. Theodore, joining me is Gloria, and we are conducting our first AMA session. Plot twist, what do you mean?
Yeah. So sorry for any issues we have. It's our first time. Be kind and gentle to us.
Yeah, it's just our ragtag group trying to set up a stream for the first time in our history with no help. So, yeah.
Hopefully, we'll answer some burning questions and help as many people get their feature on our site as possible, or at least understand where they should be heading.
Yeah, and how we work in general.
Yes.
Gloria, could you please send the link to Slava?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so first of all, why is Undertale displayed there? So we are conducting this AMA session because our website is celebrating its 10th birthday, and we thought it would be a good idea to, well, to display the absolute best 2015 game. The Witcher 3 is not a game. So yeah.
You can see how it's going to go, right? Some opinionated things are going to be said.
Well, I cannot be really too opinionated because Artie would kill me.
Well, what he doesn't know won't kill him, but I'm gonna snitch, just so you know.
Cruel, cruel woman.
Yes, thank you, Magnus. I think we're going to wait a couple more minutes, see how it goes, and then uh, move on to what we're here for today.
Yeah, so for a bit of context, we actually gathered some questions from our readers beforehand and have prepared a lot of answers. I'm not sure if many people would join us here today, and if you do, we'd also take some questions from chat. So this AMA session can last 30 minutes or 3 hours. It actually
Let's not,
depends.
yeah, let's not go for 3 hours though.
Yeah, you still have some articles to prepare.
Yes, thanks to you.
Answer cruelty with cruelty.
Exactly. Well, even if we don't get a lot of viewers today, it doesn't matter because we'll have this VOD saved so we can,
So we can
lead
reference it
artists.
in our article.
Yes, true, and also we get a lot of common questions from artists, so we can just send them here to see what they can do um, to get a feature on our site first of all, and yeah,
But wait, there's more.
there's more. Absolutely. Yeah, 7 a.m. is pretty early, but again, we all live in different time zones, so
Yeah,
we
that's the
have
only
to
AMA
adjust.
session that takes into consideration the European time and not the US one.
For better or for worse, we will see. As for your question about software, I think we will talk about it when we answer this main question, I guess, about what's needed, what's taken into consideration when we look at your works. I think
Well,
we can
actually,
start
it's
actually.
it's a very simple question, so we can answer it right now. No, no, it
Yes,
does
but
not.
I will go back to it as well because we want it to be, one size fits all, so to say. So everybody has the answers in the same place. So you don't have to watch the whole thing to find the answer.
Short
I think
answer
we
is
could start.
no. Software doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It doesn't. So we could start with introductions once more for those who don't know us or for our future readers.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
just
Theo,
wait
you can
for a
start.
couple of more minutes because I can see some folks gathering right now.
Okay. So you will start, okay? Because, well, you're the boss.
Yeah, I wouldn't call myself that.
That's what you did last time we met.
Did I?
Yeah, we played a game, you remember?
Uh, oh,
Well, okay. But I do. I don't want to share too much information,
I have terrible memory anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so let's start with the introduction. It's Theodore Mackenzie. I'm the head of content here, and joining me is Gloria Levine. She is our senior editor and well, my right hand woman. So, yeah, I think we can get started with our simple questions. So, our first question was sent to us by someone named 3D Phenomenal. Reads as follows: I am 3D artist with skill of Blender, Unreal Engine, and Adobe 3D Substance Painter. Can you recommend an internship for me as a 3D environment artist? Thanks. So, 3D Phenomenal. With that being our first ever AMA session, we wanted to go above and beyond. So, we have prepared a digest especially for you.
Which I sent right now in the chat. Oh,
I think we
something's
both
wrong
have.
here.
No, no, no.
Yeah, but I see four links.
Yeah, two from you and two from me.
But I sent it one. Okay, okay, it's our first time. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, at least you can now see the link.
Four times. Yeah,
Yeah, so we have collected some internship positions in this digest, big and smaller game development studios. So feel free to check it out and apply. All right, next question comes from Ein. Last news of a dark mode is from 2018. Did the team give up on it? Will there be a dark mode anytime soon? So Gloria, do this.
Yeah, that's a very popular question. And unfortunately, um, let's just say it's not our main priority right now. But there is an app, there is an extension that can help you with to to have dark mode on basically any site, including AT level, which I just linked. So take a look at it and maybe it will suit you because unfortunately, right now, this is not what we are working on, but we always keep this thought in mind. So don't worry, one day, probably,
Maybe.
maybe.
Okay, thank you. And is there any plan to launch 80 level app for mobile? So this question comes from Phil, and actually head of 80 level RT has prepared an answer. So the short answer is no. We are not planning to launch a mobile app right now, but as you know, we are well a news website and we get our money from well from clicks, from people who read our articles. And the more clicks we have, the more money we have, and therefore we can afford more develop more developments. So just read our articles, and eventually we'll save up enough to launch a dedicated mobile app. But yeah, right now it is also not a priority. So the next question is from Raglik. What is the biggest difference in how people interact with 80 level today compared to the first years? So yeah, I joined 80 level in early 2021 and Gloria joined in late 2021. So we've been around for 4 years only. So this question was also answered by Artie, who's been here from the very beginning. So back in 2015, 2016, it was a small blog with small pages on social media, and we had to explain who we are every single time. So Artie and Kirill, who is 80 Levels founder, felt kind of lonely. But right now, there is this large community. We are, well, no longer, strictly speaking, uh, a 3D website. We also cover other topics like technology, video games, gaming industry, and stuff like that. Uh, so our community has grown, but don't get me don't get me wrong. Our target audience and veteran 80 level readers are still 3D artists and game developers, but we also have a lot of other groups reading us right now. Uh, so we have this huge community. Yeah, that's well basically the main difference. All right, next
Mhm.
question. This one is also about 80 levels history, and it comes from Silk. How has building 80 level been for you? And the answer once again comes from Artie, because he was well, the only editor here at 80 level for a very, very long time. And according to him, this is the most difficult thing he has ever done in his entire life. So working every single day, sometimes on weekends, sometimes without vacations. If you, well, if you have a small website, if with two people working there, if you let yourself you relax, you lose. So short answer is difficult. It has been very difficult. Right, next question is from an anonymous reader. Gloria, why won't you take away this one?
Sure. There are several similar questions. So, how can an indie studio get a featured article about their current projects, uh, as well as how artists can do that? So first of all, indie studios should send their games to our support at 80.lv, or through our social media. Um, Anywhere is fine. We will take a look anyways. And when it comes to artists, basically more or less the same. You can try sending your works on social media, and definitely we will definitely look at it. But the next question is, do people pay to get published on 80 level? And the answer is people, artists, they don't, but companies do. So, yeah, basically, feel free to send your works to us. The next question about the same topic is 80 level features some of the best published artworks in the industry. Thank you. I would love to know how to submit my work for consideration. What are the criteria for posting artwork, and how can I connect with the team? So, first of all, connect with us through social media, through emails, through support in any way you can. But there are some criteria. It's true. So we are interested. Your work should be, well, high quality, uh, or it should have an interesting idea, maybe in the story or in the techniques you use in your works, or it should be funny. But there are some things we won't ever publish, and this is not safe for work, any kind of nudity or other stuff like this that is not for general audiences. No gore, no hateful content, nothing political. We are here for the art, not for political activism. No AI, which is also a big topic Theo is going to talk about. Your works also should be fresh. So if you made something half a year ago, it's probably not going to make it. Uh, yes, and of course it should be original. You can't just take somebody else's work and present it as your own. If we see that, it's definitely a no-no. So basically, yes, there are three categories that your work should be a part of. It should be either fun or unusual or technically difficult. And yeah, and this is how you can get featured. But I have to say, not every work is going to get featured, of course. So if these rules don't apply to your work, then sorry, it won't get featured. So if every work that we publish is selected, it's not that you can just throw it at us and we'll publish it. No. So it goes through Theo. So even if I get a lot of entries through my LinkedIn, for example, or any other social media, it goes through Theo and he decides what goes and what doesn't. So don't think that I or any other editors decide for themselves and just publish what we like.
Not just Theo, Artio also participates.
Okay, and Artie. So basically, there are two bosses, Artie and Theo. So even if I like your work, it doesn't mean that it will be featured on the site.
So yeah, those are the
There's
rules.
another Yes, and there's another question as we're talking about from Magnus. So, you ever gonna start reviewing games too, especially with the power vacuum now that people hate the old game journalists?
Oh yeah, this one's easy. No. Simply
Well,
put,
hopefully.
simply put, well, here you have two paths. Either you lie to your readers and pretend that nowadays AAA games are all 10 out of 10s, or you ruin your, um, well, your relationship with artists and developers who work at companies because even though we usually only criticize video games for, well, for not video games, but rather video game companies for the things their executives do, and we never touch regular developers because, well, they are our friends. And if you were to give a negative score to a video game, even though it might not be that good, developers and artists used to work on it, and well, it would be really a full pot to discourage them from creating. And yeah, that's why we don't want to, well, rate video games. And secondly, I
Yes.
don't think we are really all that experienced to do that because, well, of course, you can do those uh, shallow reviews, but to make a really good, extensive overview of a video game, you need a lot of time and effort. And honestly, we are not that experienced to, well, to give video games positive or negative reviews. Yeah,
I also want to say it's a slippery slope to get into reviewing games because, yes, because of everything Theo has mentioned. And I'd say that as long as it's up to us, the answer is no. We won't do that. But, life is a complicated thing. But hopefully, we will never do that.
why hopefully. I thought you wanted to make reviews.
Well, I want to make reviews of stuff that I like. That's what I'm trying to say. So, yes, if I try hard enough and ask, I guess, really nicely, there might be some, but we're not probably not going to turn into a site that consistently does reviews.
And we,
Yeah.
we, we really don't want to.
Mm, yes. So, as long as it's up to us, then our content is not going to be mostly reviews, no.
So yeah, our next question comes from Alex. Do you think Tier 3 will ever be released? Honestly, I don't know why you would want that. I think Team Fortress 2 is perfectly playable game. I still play it regularly. So plus there's this whole Valve and third games thing. So no, I don't really think that Team Fortress 3 is ever coming.
Hmm.
All right. Question is from Northern. As a complete novice who struggles with getting the learning to click with things like Blender, ZBrush, and more, is there any hope for people like us in an industry that feels like it's already filled with pros? So, any help would be greatly appreciated. Posts always inspire. Thank you. So, we have prepared a list of topics, or rather, pieces of advice that might help you. First of all, find yourself a mentor. And I'm not talking about a teacher or, hey, Flo, is Theo. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so find yourself a mentor, someone who would be there all the time, supporting you and showing you your mistakes. It can be someone from, well, a company you're working at or someone outside it, but it has to be, well, a mentor and a friend who would always support you and help you get better. Secondly, find a topic you like. So, for example, if you like digital characters, you should focus on that. If you like environments, focus on that. Then don't just repeat what you see in tutorials because, well, it's relatively easy to just, well, I don't know, watch a tutorial from, let's say, Unreal Sensei and recreate a scene uh, from his tutorial. But you should also, or donuts, yeah, don't create another donut. Of course, you are free to do so,
Well,
but Gloria here is not in
I
complete
have,
agreement with me.
yes.
I'm not dissing
Yeah,
donuts, by the way.
donuts are great as long as you're creative about them,
So, yeah, there should be something else beside donuts in your portfolio.
for sure. Unless you're making them totally procedurally in, I don't know, Houdini or something.
Or those can be some unusual donuts, like this one mm, from Flip Fluids, I think. I don't remember. So there was this one donut made out of water. This one was impressive.
Hmm.
Then you should also think about networking. So just simple make powerful friends. Always a good advice. Uh, also, this advice goes, yeah, this advice is very simple. Just find a lot of references for each of your works, and that would help you, well, level up your artistic skills. Always seek advice, obviously, and read our interviews. They're good.
They are helpful,
Yeah,
hopefully.
usually
And
we have this one last question where we, well, ask about what pieces of advice would you recommend to aspiring artists and stuff like that.
mhm.
So yeah, you can just read our interviews and learn a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I've edited like 100, I think, of interviews or more. And what I noticed is that almost everybody says that to seek feedback, it's very important. And you get a lot of great results from that. So yeah, I say that this is like extremely important.
All right, our next
But
question comes. Yeah,
sorry, a little bit. I got a little tip here as well. Circling back to how to submit or what gets picked for the site. We also have competitions lately. I don't know if you've noticed, and uh, you can you can participate in our showcase competitions, and if you win, then you will get featured as well.
yeah, that's like a cheat code. I
Yeah,
get.
you should also go to our Discord to learn more about competitions with cool prizes as well. So,
Yeah, follow us on Discord.
mhm,
Then our next question comes from, how do I read? Faith Flex.
Elvira and
Oh yeah, Elvira first. You could have been part of the team that made any video game ever. Which game would that be and why? Gloria, what's your favorite company?
well, just a little spoiler. I think we'll have answers to these questions on our site. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you will see
Just
my huge rant about some of these questions. But my, short, long story short, for me, I'd like to work with Larian Studios on whatever game they're making because from what I've written about, they seem like very healthy bunch. I think it's great to work with their leadership with on their projects, because I love such RPGs as well. So I think it's a win-win situation for me.
Yeah, and I wouldn't really want to work game industry like at all. Not just because, well, I don't feel competent enough to actually. Well, yeah, I know that my mic sucks really. Sorry, guys. Like we've already mentioned, this is our first stream made by a ragtag group of people who never streamed before. So,
Well, not in this. Yes, don't worry, I'm reading the comments, so I will highlight if something goes wrong. But yes, I don't know, I'm surprised that I'm too low, because we had an issue that I was too loud. So maybe that's why. But yeah, keep us informed, please, because I can adjust my volume at least. And yeah, I
yeah,
can make it I hmm
even though I cannot adjust mine, at least you'd be able to hear Gloria clearly.
yes, I can adjust mine. Just tell me if you need me louder. Blizzard Blizzard is a wild is a wild answer, but I guess back in the days.
Are we talking 2005 Blizzard or 2015 Blizzard?
You want to work at Valve? What do you think about their interesting management system, though?
What are you talking
Because
about? Their
I'm
management system is good.
on paper, I don't know. I've heard some stuff. I think I've written about some stuff that it's not as shiny as it seems. Oh well, I'm also leaving. If somebody is interested, here is the link to our article. Here is the. Oh, it's too long. Wait a second. Yeah, I'll post a link to whatever I think is relevant. So don't worry about that. You can just keep talking. I will try to keep up. Okay. Xander says that it sounds okay, so I don't know. Well, keep us informed if you want us to adjust something. We will at least take it into consideration for our next AMA if it ever happens. Okay, so
Yeah. Our next question comes like someone's the.
turn it off.
At least I have disabled the sounds.
I'm reading everything. Don't worry.
Uh, our next question from FaithFlex. What are some things today that would not exist were if not for the work 80 level put in to make them accessible to the 3D and gaming community? Uh, so this question has also been answered by Artie, who's been here the longest. He wouldn't want to brag about the importance of 80 level, but he's proud that our work has helped more digital artists to be visible, with people even outside of the industry now understanding how difficult it is to make video games, make 3D art. So yeah, there's that. And Gloria, do you have anything to add here? Because I don't really think that there's anything more important than this part here.
Mm, I don't think there's something that wouldn't exist if not for us, but there's always a niche that can be filled. But yeah, we're just happy to help people and to be recognized among artists and developers.
Yeah, I think we wouldn't have had exclusive articles about Starbreeze laying off developers. Seriously, what's wrong with other news outlets? So we have
That's
this.
not enough drama for them.
I don't think that's that. I just think they don't want to, well,
Get on their bedside.
yeah, not necessarily that, but they don't want to lose this access to exclusive materials from them and stuff like that. But other than that,
Magnus, sorry, Magnus, it seems okay. I'm listening to the stream and everything is fine. Sorry.
I haven't heard this rumor, Xander, but it might be. At least we have this one, well, who was that? A concept artist who saw the room where they make Half-Life 3. I think that's kind of sort of confirmation that it has at least been in the works at some point in the past. But honestly, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, oh, this question.
Your favorite.
Yeah, my favorite. And this question has been on my mind for the past nearly 3 years now. Comes from, well, either a Chinese or a Japanese character, and unfortunately I cannot read it. But it says, what's your perspective on AI, including generative AI that directly creates finished products such as images and 3D models, AI renderers, and even AI motion capture? AI continues to develop. What would be the most optimistic direction for its progress? So, about 80 levels position on generative AI. So, back when it only appeared in mid 2022, uh, we, much like the rest of the digital art community, were pretty positive about the concept and actually even featured generative quote unquote art in our articles. I still remember, Gloria, I think it was one of your articles about uh, some AI model imagining Game of Thrones characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my highest point.
So, and a bit later in fall 2022, we started, well, slowly but surely realizing that AI developers are, well, are the bad guys here because of how they train their models. And then there were those anti-AI protests on our station with a lot of digital artists, 2D and 3D, just gathering together and basically shutting down our station for a couple of days. And up until that point, I wouldn't talk about 80 level as a whole or other editors, but up until that point, I considered AI, especially this text to image generative AI, as a sort of like an NFT thing or a 3D TV thing or I don't know, VR versions of popular games in late 2010s thing. So just a stupid gimmick that would go away in a couple of months. And boy, how wrong I was. So in 2023 to 2024, AI has become, well, a thing to stay, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I don't know. Depends on your perception. But then we realized that there's this Cold War going on between digital artists and AI developers. Yeah, and we could remain neutral because 80 level usually remains neutral on a variety of topics. Well, stay in the middle on, well, everything. But here it was either we say nothing about. I cannot say the word steal here because I don't want to be sued for libel, but it was either siding with companies who scrape uh, gigabytes upon gigabytes of digital artworks, or to side with our, well, with the audience that has supported us for all those years. And, well, frankly speaking, it was an easy choice. So, answering your question, a reader with an unreadable nickname, we dislike AI. We really don't want to promote AI in any way, and whenever we mention AI in our articles, it's usually something negative. And AI continues to develop. What would be the most optimistic direction for its progress? Well, there was this one thing just recently. Cascador announced this new in-betweening tool, which is AI powered. And provided it was trained on their own materials and they haven't scraped any of the other artists' works, I think that's absolutely fine. That would be the most optimistic direction. But
Well,
unfortunately,
mhm.
yeah,
I just wanted to say that first of all, I think you can read between the lines our views on AI in our articles because some, let's just say, some are more neutral than others. And we should not forget that there are two types of AI, and this is generative AI and, you know, I guess just AI, technical AI. And these are different things because I'd say that our position on generative AI is definitely much lower, or our opinions are much lower than compared to when AI helps in technology, to achieve something great, because it doesn't scrape anything. And well, maybe some stuff from the studio's own materials, but So I just want to say that there are two types of AI, and we are more positive about actual technical stuff.
yeah, but in the context of, well, 80 level as a hub for game developers and 3D artists, I think the, the question was more about generative AI, like text to something, text to video, text to image, stuff like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, we don't like AI. Official position. Not really. I'm not in position to, well, announce 80 levels official position, but our editorial team usually dislikes AI. It's basically written all over our articles. So the next question is from Caleb. Where do you view digital media expanding with the prevalence of AI? Caleb, I'm very sorry. I don't really understand what you mean by digital media. Do you mean like news outlets or, well, what's meant here? I think
Digital
we
media hunting.
I think we'll contact you, Caleb, and add the answer to this question to our to the written version of the SAMA. Right, next question is from Bajra. Why is it called 80 level? Because of World of Warcraft. That's simple. Next question, please.
I think you should. Don't you want to tell the story why it's 80 level and not level 80?
Nah, I don't really think that's a good idea.
Okay.
At least when you Google 80 level and not level 80, our website is displayed and not World of Warcraft. So, what were your favorite games growing up? Gloria? I do.
Again, I will have. if nothing gets cut, which I don't think it will, um, you will see my full long explanation on our website later. But in short, I remember being fascinated with ancient ancient Egypt because of Tomb Raider 4. I didn't play it. Well, I think I tried to play it, but I'm a huge chicken. So even Tomb Raider was a bit too scary for me. So I just watched my father play, and it was fascinating. All those traps that the environments had, it was awesome. So this was definitely something. And later, I had a hyperfixation on another game, which I think is not common at all, but it was called Creatures, as I learned much later. And it was weird. It was strange. It gave me creeps, but at the same time fascinated me. And I will talk about it at length later. But as for now, these were influential for me. These were my favorites.
Yeah, for me, those were Dune 2000, my first game ever, Poker,
Mm.
and Fallout 2, and Oblivion. And there was this one game, I don't really remember its name. I've been trying to find it for the past 10 years of my life. It was a top down game with, well, average graphics, set in fantasy like world, as far as I remember, and you could place bombs there. Like dynamite, different types of bombs, mines, stuff like that. I don't remember its name, and I would love to find it, but I cannot.
That's interesting. Well, maybe we'll get some help from our readers.
I don't know,
uh,
maybe. But
you
I,
mentioned.
s-
I'm sorry.
yeah, well, the thing is, the question asks about favorite games growing up, but I still play, well, a lot of them to this day. I still play Fallout 2 every now and again, play Oblivion, and I was initially quite excited about the remaster, but I played it, and well, with nearly 2,000 played in Oblivion, it was fine. It's great that my favorite game of all time, well, was brought to this wider audience, but it was really nothing special.
Yeah, and you mentioned Doom, and I remember back in the day when only
Not
my
not Doom,
friends had
Dune, Dune.
Dune.
Yeah.
Dune. Oh, okay. Sorry, but I thought about. I never played Doom. Whoops. But I played Quake 2 with my friends on this old computer, and The Sims, the first Sims. And it's kind of fascinating that so many of these games are getting remasters nowadays because, um, Oblivion and The Sims, all parts of oh no, or the first two parts of The Sims, they got remake, no, a re-release lately, recently. So that's interesting how it all goes back.
Right. Next question is from an anonymous reader. When are you coming to Blue Sky? As soon as it gets popular and gets some actual audience there. Next question. Mayak 19. Uh, if eh, dang, one hell of a spelling.
It
If
will be great to meet.
it would be great to meet, like online and review each other works or just chat about the industry. I don't know. You tell us if you like those streams, as rugged as they are. You tell us. We'll begin conducting them more often. We Usually, as a news outlet, we are reactionary. We just watch what our readers and our uh, well, commenters on our social media pages like and dislike. For example, if they like procedural stuff, we'll publish more procedural stuff. If they don't like AI, we stop posting positive things about AI. So if you like those streams, be our guest. We'll conduct them more often. Next question is also from Bajra. What is the biggest challenge in early days to keep this platform still alive? Well, this sounds like two questions. What was the biggest challenge in early days, and what are the challenges right now that we face every day trying to keep this platform alive? So, the biggest challenge in the beginning was, as I've already mentioned, for a huge chunk of time, 80 level consisted of Kirill and Arti. Uh, so, one and a half editors, one editor and one half editor, half everything else, CEO, director, you name it. And you have to make a website global with two people. So you naturally have to write a lot of articles every day, 10 or more, and just hope someone notices you and opens your articles. So yeah, you get the idea. And as to the challenges we face right now, well, first of all, lots of poorly written documentation. So some software developers provide a lot of insightful documentation that we can, the editorial team can access and make our articles more, uh, well, more insightful. But a lot of other developers either don't have proper documentation. I won't name any names, but they know who they are, and it's usually very difficult to navigate the software and prepare something decent for our readers. So yeah, this is quite a challenge. Then there's this issue. Then we have interviewees that initially show a lot of enthusiasm. Like we contact someone and invite them for an interview, and they are like, "Yeah, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Yeah." And then we send them the questions, and they just ignore us. That happens quite often, unfortunately. And just seeing someone just brimming with enthusiasm and spending a lot of time preparing some insightful, uh, very deep questions only to get ghosted, it's a big challenge, yeah. And then we have the issue of balancing the community. Well, 80 level has always been and will always be well, a neutral website on 99% of topics. So we don't take political sides, religious sides, sides on other issues. And well, as Gloria has already said, we are interested in 3D art and game development, not politics. And because of that, we have a lot of people from, well, different sides, politics wise, who love to argue about their stuff. And well, we don't ban them, of course, because that's just stupid. People can discuss whatever they want, freedom of speech and stuff. But sometimes we have certain people with certain views that are just, well, I don't know, they deserve they deserve an urban trial of their own. So yeah, we have this issue where we have a lot of very opinionated commenters, and we need to, well, to keep the balance here and quickly find those people who, um, Yeah, politics are indeed stupid. And keeping our community like,
Away from politics.
yeah,
But I think it's a great,
that's a very major issue. Yeah.
yeah, sorry about that sound. I think it's a great place to remind everybody that about um, the fact that you should keep your radical political views to yourself, especially on platforms like Telegram. And while Theo said we don't ban them, well, on Telegram, we definitely do ban excessive politic talks, especially, radical ones. So while you can discuss politics when it's connected to the piece of news, if it gets too much and if you try to attack somebody else, you're going to get first warned. If you're lucky, you will get me, and first I'll warn you and then ban you if you don't listen. If you're unlucky, Theo will get you and he will not ask any questions, I'm afraid.
Yeah, just keep it
So
civil.
keep,
Just keep
yeah,
it
keep it
civil, and
civil.
we have a set of rules uh, on how you can get banned on our social media platforms, and it basically boils down to just 2 points. If you publish links from our articles in the comments, you get banned because, sorry, but we have to, well, feed ourselves. So we need those clicks. And if you just go ahead and uh, publish links in the comments, no questions, you get banned immediately. And if you are not civil, that's simple.
Yes, we all have our own political views. I have strong opinions, but again, look, just keep them in check. You're entitled to your opinion, but if it starts getting into somebody's business, you're gonna get banned.
Not all of us, really. I don't give a crap.
Yes, but I do. That's why I moderate Telegram. So if you see any bots, by the way, there are
We're
some
sorry,
people
we're
who
trying to
tag
ban
me.
them all.
Yeah, yeah, but you can tag me and I will ban them.
So, yeah. Next question is from Vini3D. Where can one get best free paid resources for texturing weapons? Well, much like 3D Phenomenal, Vini3D, we have prepared a special digest just for you. Gloria, please add it to the chat.
Hmm.
So we have collected some interviews with texturing artists about their weapons related projects. So take a look. Hopefully, you'll be able to learn a lot from them. Okay, the next question is also about AI. I think we can skip that one. Yeah, I think we can also skip this question because we don't have the necessary experience to reply to that. Sorry,
Well,
we'll
maybe
keep.
we should just so somebody wrote it to us, so maybe we can just voice it, but uh so the question was, what should be considered when getting back in the industry after a career break of 2 years? And will the previous experience will be taken into consideration? And yes, as Theo said, I'm afraid we don't have enough expertise for that. But aside from our opinions, based on our conversations with other artists, I'd say that it's a tough industry, especially nowadays. But I think all experience matters. You should never just swipe it away just because you think it was 2 years ago.
Well, it depends on you really, because if you want to swipe it away, go ahead. Because well,
You're
we are just a couple of gaming journalists. We're not here to tell you how to live your life. And if you want to just leave it all behind and, well, try to do something else, be my guest.
so, but back to the questions, to the question if you should be getting back into the industry. I think if it's your passion, if you love it, then, and if you think you can bring something fresh there, yes, you should try, I think.
And this question actually segues great to our next one from Muhammad Ali. For 4 years, I've been trying to improve myself and I didn't even get a junior position. Should I give up? Well, here we could say that you should never give up and you should try your damnedest to get into this industry. But if you've been trying to, well, trying to get into game development for 4 years unsuccessfully, why don't you just try and go solo? Because, well, Amber, one of our editors, a senior editor at 80 level, she actually worked at, well, game development studios. She is, well, the most qualified to to discuss this topic. And she told us that AAA companies are usually biased and just won't hire uh, people without experience or even people with experience in indie studios just because they need someone with 10 years of experience, one or two AAA ship titles, stuff like that. So if you've been trying to get there for 4 years, maybe you should just try to go your own way and make your own path. Because nowadays, when we see AA studios and indie developers, solo developers just kicking AAA's butt, both financially and especially reputationally. So just try to do something on your own entirely. Because, well, you'll be your own boss. Of course, that would be hard, naturally, but you won't be dependent on anyone else. You should also try connecting with other people. Well, continue practicing, of course, and just, try to do something on your own, really. Because if you do it that way, there would be no one to stop you, really.
Well, from my side, it's the same as in any other industry. Of course, big companies don't want to waste time on teaching you anything. So yeah, probably you should first of all start with something smaller or create something on your own. Although I'll have to disagree. Well, not disagree, but I'll have to say that it being your own boss is not for everybody, and I'd say it's not for the majority of people even. So just see what you can do and don't lose hope, don't give up, and all that cliched stuff.
Shade indeed.
Hmm.
So that's that. Those were the questions sent to us by readers. If you'd like to ask something else, go on ahead.
Feel free, and while you are preparing something for us, maybe here's our Discord server that we've mentioned before. Please consider following us there to take part in our competitions. We've grown a lot in this area. I don't know if you've noticed, but we have very nice companies who are ready to give winners of our competitions some very nice stuff. As for Magnus, just a little bit off topic. Arcane season one had 18 writers and two had three. Do you think it's you don't like the second season, I understand that it was more rushed than the first one. Here I agree, but I personally liked the second more because it was a little more global, I think.
I still haven't watched the second season.
Which is a fuck oh, sorry, which is a shame, Theo, shame.
We'll get
But
banned
I
here, you
made
know?
sorry. I actually convinced a guy who had never seen who hadn't seen the first season to watch it all, and he agrees with me that the second season is better in terms of story. So, but maybe we're, special snowflakes. Who knows?
I am yet to watch it. Maybe one day I'll have enough time.
Yes. That's why we don't write reviews. I have to, agree with you on that it requires, if you want to write a good review, it requires a lot of time, and you need to, if you hate it and if it's bad, then well, you either lose credit with the companies, which is never good for medias that are alive only because of sponsorships and your views, or you are loved by the people, but long story short, it's not our type of content at the moment, and probably won't be for the next several years at least. Yeah, Magnus, I understand the scene in question. I don't quite agree with the what. Well, okay, we said we're not going to be political, so I'm not gonna answer this question, I guess.
Yeah, so uh, barging into barging into your conversation, we're not trying to be vague, well, for a reason. We just don't want to talk about those topics, really. Our topics to the topics to discuss with us are game development, 3D art, AI, gaming industry, and stuff like that. But don't ever expect us to start discussing politics and stuff like that.
You know, I moderate Telegram for a reason. I have very strong opinions as well, but you have to keep them undercover. uh, yes, thank you, Magnus. Well, let's just say we all have different opinions, and this is out of our content range, as I love to say.
Yeah, and sometimes you can easily see our opinions in our articles. For example, on AAA games. I don't like AAA games nowadays. I think they're
Very
just too.
easily.
Huh?
Very easily. Hmm.
Yeah, because I just think they're too cinematic. I don't think that many people discuss this issue nowadays, but I do remember back in, I don't know, 2012 to 2013, this was really a major issue that games were starting to become more like Uncharted or The Last of Us. Those were movies, not games. And well, I'm not dissing The Last of Us here. It had some solid moments and solid gameplay, but there were a lot of games. I don't know, Heavy Rain, but it was before that time. You get the idea. So, and those games started to paint themselves as those masterpieces like movies and stuff like that. completely forgetting that they are first and foremost video games and they have to be fun and engaging. And how many times do you see modern day AAA developers mention the word fun? Because I don't see that all that often. They just try to catch this, well, to catch this cloud of pompousness and paint themselves as something they should not be. So yeah, we have our opinions, but and sometimes you can find them, but they're not political opinions and stuff like that.
Yeah, we keep them in our minds, our political opinions, because that's not what our site is about. And I think everybody should think about it before posting before commenting something, especially, negative. Oh, I know what's fun for some developers. Not owning games, that's very fun.
Money. I think money is fun.
Blame esports. Well, I don't know about that. I just think, well,
Well,
fun is
yeah,
subjective.
I can see where Reese is coming from because esports ruined several games. For example, well, as a Team Fortress 2 player, I know about this entire discussion that developers try to cater to, well, esports more than regular gamers, and because of that, games themselves get ruined. But even so, how can you blame esports on the declining quality of single player games, for example?
It's true, but again, people don't have much time for games as well, so they need to be, to grip you from the get-go. And as for, I think it's not only esports, but some tutorials and metas in general, because I play Overwatch, and there are certain metas that not everybody, but a lot of people follow, that you're supposed to have this character and that character in your team, which is detrimental for the experience, I think. But I think it also um, it's also linked to single player games as well, that you should have this build and not that one, that you should be a stealthy archer and not anything else. Yes, so I think that's why I hate looking up some builds for any games, because I want, even if it means that I will create a GIMP, it doesn't matter, because I will have fun and not just blindly follow a tutorial on the internet. That's why we don't write tutorial as well. Well, partly why.
Yeah, and mostly because it's just, well, not really good content, plain and simple. Because, well, why would you create tutorials for video games? Well, when every single one can do that. And, well, not to diss myself and, well, AT level as a whole, but we are not experts in every single game, much like every single other news outlet. So I think it's better to leave tutorial creation to people passionate about, well, their favorite video games. For example, I can create tutorials about Oblivion and New Vegas. That's it. I wouldn't feel comfortable, well, teaching others about other games. And if you manage a website, you have to cater to different people, different audiences. Uh, it would be just ridiculous if we were to, well, announce one day that from this day on, 80 level is now solely dedicated to Oblivion tutorials or, well, Baldur's Gate 3 tutorials. Yeah,
And
that would be ridiculous.
yeah, but it should tell you something about 80 level as well, because I think tutorials are click worthy. I think because everybody needs a tutorial, there are always new players, and I think, I don't know the statistics, but they probably get a lot of clicks, but it's just cheap content. Not cheap content, but it's just not interesting for us and our platform in general. We're we need clicks, yes, but not if it means that we lose our principles.
Yeah, there's this certain threshold that we won't cross like ever because, well,
Hopefully, yeah.
well, what do you mean by hopefully? If I say we don't
Well,
cross it, we don't cross it.
well, as you said before, you're not, how how did you say that? Well, your word is not the last.
Yeah, it's not gospel for sure, but
Exactly. So if somebody from above decides to that we need to do something, I'm afraid we won't have any choice.
yeah, but luckily our higher ups don't really, well, don't really tell us a lot how to do things and what to do. So that's
Yes. So
not
for now, as
so
long as it's true, we're not going to stoop down.
stream broke a bit.
Hmm. Yes, integrity is what we have, for better or for worse. Well, for better, hopefully. But yeah, that's the essence of 80 level for now. And hopefully forever.
So
All right.
if there are no further questions, I think get back to work.
Oh, yes.
All right,
Great
thank
reply.
you.
Yes, Magnus, I think that's exactly the problem, that you need to really, really be careful. And that's exactly why we don't write reviews, because you can't just choose one side and cater to it. Yes, and just to, as a conclusion, we talked about
Wait.
featuring work
There's
at
one
the
more
beginning.
question. Is there a process to how 80 level staff feature artwork in articles?
Yes, that's what I was
Well,
trying to say. We've talked about it at the beginning, but to reiterate, uh, we take a look at them, and if they are interesting, fun, technically challenging, or just simply beautiful or useful, then we will feature them. And your software doesn't matter for this. And of course, it should not be AI, it should not be not safe for work, it should not be um, anything radical or crazy, nothing political, nothing religious. Well, yes.
by the way, speaking of
And
uh, Yantars, how do I pronounce it? Yantars? So, uh, featured by 80 level, could you please uh, send uh, send us a link to contact at 80.lv so we could send you a code?
content at 80.lv, Theo, yes?
Yeah, sure. Oh, no, not content, contact.
Ah, contact, sorry. I don't know all our our emails. So, if you're thinking about just positive reviews only, you could do your own little games of the year category and also feature art focused games like Abzu. Yes, you are right, because I have many indie games that I love and that I opened for myself and I would love to share with other people. So, maybe we should consider it.
Uh, I'll think about it. I don't really know what our criteria would be or
Just
how
for
good it
fun,
is.
maybe as a Christmas special, like our the games we opened this year, or something that we want to some indie games we want uh, to recommend, maybe.
Yeah, I deleted the incorrect emails. It was actually support at
Yes, that's what
af.org.
I was thinking. So I was confused a bit here. But yes, again, you can find us on, personally on social media. I just wanted to say that we look at your submissions. So it doesn't if and we bring it to Theo. It means that if it
Means
means
that
that
if your artwork does not get featured, you can blame me. That's what she's trying to say.
yes, but no, and I'm also trying to say that you don't need to bombard us with the same emails over and over again. Usually the process takes about a week. If you don't see your work in a week, then it hasn't been selected.
Pretty much that.
Yeah. So that's the important part. You don't need to send us messages again and again and again. Try with me. If it doesn't work, you don't need to go to Amber or to Emma or to Rita or to Theo. We Theo sees it all. That's all you need to know. And yeah, you have about a week
I'm like
if you
Bowery
don't
King
see.
from John Wick. I'm all seeing, all knowing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the person you want your attention from. You want to get the attention from. Yes.
Yeah, usually it's pretty streamlined. We see something interesting, we publish it. Simple as.
Yes.
Castle Crushers. Is that your game? Take a look.
Yes, for example, I got a message from a studio on through Twitter yesterday, and immediately sent it to Theo. And if you see it, then it means he approved it. So it's a pretty fast process, but yeah, sorry, it doesn't. If you send us your artwork, unfortunately, it doesn't guarantee it will be featured. But I can promise you, we will take a look. All right. So
Yeah,
if you don't have any questions, I think we can finish it for today. Thank you for staying with us. It was very nice
thanks
that
for
we were not
joining.
alone here. Yes, not alone here, just talking to each other all this
Yeah,
time.
I honestly thought there would be like three people, and just seeing that at least some people are joining us at our first, well, poorly made but made with love stream.
Yes, you can share your feedback in the comment section on any social
Oh
media
yeah,
under the post.
sorry for interrupting. I haven't really heard about Castle Crushers. I'll take a look. Thanks.
Yes, thanks for your recommendations, and we read all your comments, so don't worry. You can share your feedback, and we can, if we have another AMA one day, we will take this all into consideration.
And by the way, we love all of our commenters, and we love all of our comments, including negative ones.
Yeah. Just be careful with your negative ones. As I said, keep it civil.
Yeah, you can criticize us, but uh, don't criticize other people, especially for for ridiculous reasons.
Yes. So thank you very much, and I will see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us here.